the biggest part of this event is the new Mac Studios. Which Austin, do you want to tell everybody what you just did?
Oh, well, so let me explain where I even started with this thing. So I've had a PC for years, and I've worked on a PC. I work in Adobe Premiere, and I've been editing. I have a, I don't even know where to start. I co-own a marketing agency and video. We specialize in video production, so we do a lot of video work. I am always editing videos. My PC is what I've always had, and I went with PC for affordability years ago. I built this I don't know what I said, 8 years ago, and well, not this one. I built my first one 8 years ago, and it was just more affordable than anything on the market. I've seen people editing on MacBooks and stuff, and then I upgraded it a couple times. I think once. I think I just put a new card in it, and then I built a new PC. I built this one. I think I built this one like 6 years ago. I don't know, because the first one was kind of like my trial run to see if I could build one. I upgraded it, I don't know, 2 years ago. New card, bigger space. Swapped the processor out, and it's been fine. But just out of nowhere, I had a project come up, and it just started crapping out on me and just failing. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. Nothing was working. It was just glitching. My screen was doing weird stuff. I kept trying to troubleshoot it. I'm not like a computer expert, but I'm familiar with them. Mm-hmm. So I tried everything I could think of. I just didn't know what to do. I checked all my drivers and stuff, and I was like, I got to get this project done. I was like, well, I've heard about this M1 chip, So I just did, 1 day of research, which is unlike me. It was like, I need to do something. 1 day of research, I started looking at the Mac Mini, and then I was like, oh, what is this, $799 for this, or $699?
$699, I think, yeah. Mm-hmm.
$699, yeah. So I went to Best Buy. I actually got it on sale for $650, and got it back in. I had no real expectations. I mean, the video I was doing was just it was a multicam shoot. I had 3 cameras up. That's three layers, 3 color grades, and I had some text animation on there. Some, not a lot. And it struggled a little bit with text animation, but it cut and ripped right through this footage, and it rendered it. It rendered just, and I opened some other projects, and it rendered it sometimes even faster than my PC. And I was like, this thing is like a fraction of what I spent on this PC, 6 years ago. And it just worked. It worked. And I was so amazed. Like, man, we're $650 or $700. Mm-hmm. This is amazing. So at that point, I was impressed, and I was like, all right, I am on board with M1. Like, Apple has saved me. Apple practically saved me that week. And because of this little Mac Mini. Well, as more work come in, doing more work, started seeing. I have the base Mac Mini, by the way. I didn't mention that. 8 gigs of RAM. I went with the minimum everything, because I wanted to see if the minimum could even hold up, and it did. It impressed me. So this week, was it last week? Whatever. Recently, I was getting really upset at some projects working on. A lot of animation work, and 2D animation, texts, and just a lot of grading, and it was just making me so mad. So what do you do when you get mad? You take as much money as you can, and you throw it at the problem, right? Yep. That's what you do. And I ordered me a M1 Ultra Mac Studio. Yeah, I did. I went with just the base Ultra everything. I didn't add anything to it.
When we say base Ultra, it's like, wait, what? It's like 4 times what the Mac Mini is.
Yeah, it looks like a freaking monster. This thing, I mean, I can only imagine, because I'm super impressed with this, and this thing is like cheap, this is almost, this is like almost consumer. It is consumer, it's, I don't know, but I'm just super, super impressed with this. Anybody who does any basic video editing out there, just cuts videos, this thing is killer for it. If you got a monitor and stuff. But so this I was going to go with the M1 Max, which you ordered, and then you're trying to decide, right?
Yeah, we were like, well, if we're going to spend as much money as we did on the Max already, we're like, let's just do the Ultra. I mean, it gets to a certain point to where you're spending so much money, and then you're just like, should I just spend that little extra more and just go the mile?
That's a slippery slope, and I do that with everything. Why even have all this money? Get rid of it.
Exactly.
Well, my thought was, this PC was never like exactly what I needed. Yeah, I always cut it close. I always try to save money on the computer, and I'm like, I can always, be budget.
That's my problem.
Budget for it. And I always struggled, but I've always been used to the stutters and stuff. That's probably why I'm complimenting this thing so much. It may not be as great as I'm saying it is. I doubt that. It's really good, but I'm just used to stutters. I'm used to crashes. Well, that's mostly just Adobe too, but I'm used to the things not working every time. But I'm like, why am I used to that? Like, I do this for a living. I've been doing this for years. Like, why do I have to get used to this? I have nice cameras. I have lights and stuff. I buy stuff that works for me when I'm out shooting. Why don't I invest in something that's going to work for me in the edit where I'm spending most of my time anyway? And I think it's because it's not fun stuff to buy.
Right.
It's not fun. But yeah, it was like, I think it was like $2,400 after I customized my M1 Max. Because the M1 Max, I'm sure, is perfectly fine for me coming from this. If this is okay for me and it's working,
right?
It's working. Not as well, but the M1 Max, I'm sure, is fine.
Yeah.
But then I was like, it was like $1,500 more. Where's that? I think it came out like $4,500 after tax and all
for the Ultra.
And for the Ultra,
oh yeah.
And then so I didn't add anything, and I'm sure it was it. And that's the Ultra chip. That's 64 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, my PC I'm coming from, like, the most I ever had is 16 gigs of RAM. 16 gigs of RAM has worked for me for years. For yeah, I hope so. And yeah, the mini cores and GPU cores I've never had. So I'm rocking a RX 570, and yeah. Well, you can't build anything really. That was my issues. I can't find the card. The way the world is right now, graphics cards are such a pain to get. It's why I went with the Mac Mini. Right. I was going to build a new PC. That's why I even went with anything pre-built. I couldn't find any cards that were like, I'm not going to pay quadruple what it's worth right now. And I was like, it's the weirdest thing to say, but like, Apple had the most value, like I don't say value, the cheapest, most powerful thing that I could buy, the M1 chip.